Alright guys, Fula coming to you with another video. I hope all is well with y'all. I hope y'all are living your best life, cultivating yourselves, and developing more in every way possible. Slow progress is better than no progress at all, man. Just keep that in mind. But I kind of want to just, man, really tap in on this 168 division, man. And what I'm about to say is not going to go down well with a lot of y'all. You know, maybe you may stumble across this video. Maybe you may be like a sub that has been rocking with me for a long time. But what I'm about to like just go, my opinions are going to be very unpopular, okay? And it is what it is, man. This is just my take on certain things that I see about in 168 division. First and foremost, you know, there's three fighters that I classify. I don't know if you guys have heard that Jay-Z song. Let's describe a certain female. Let's describe a certain female. It's off Blueprint 2. It's called Bitches and Sisters. And these three fighters I classify as total bitches. Now let's go with fighter number one. Fighter number one basically was just using Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade's name for cap, and had many opportunities to fight him, but decided not to. Decided to fight the Martin Murrays of the world. Decided to fight the Isaf Sufis of the world. And that was his plan all along. Now that we look at it, the plan was never to fight Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade. That was never the intention, okay? The plan was to fight these glorified sparring matches in order for him to be a winner of the Canelo lottery. And lo and behold, he is the winner of the Canelo lottery. He is fighting Canelo in May, as it stands. Now, another thing too, another thing that I will say as well is that in fighting Canelo, there was some inside jobs. There was an inside job in making the fight happen. So it has came to me that, you know, Canelo actually paid extra for Billy Joe Saunders not to fight Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade. You know, he actually he actually paid more to not have that fight happen. So what happens? He accepts. As a matter of fact, this may be one of the very few times in which Canelo actually agreed with terms with the fighter without like just adding, like throwing him a bone and saying, here, take it. You know, this may be like one of the very few times he's done that. So with that being said, Billy Joe Saunders is a bitch. All right. Total bitch. And, you know, I trolled him on Twitter many times and things like that. I did that like so many times. You know what I mean? I was like one of the, like, in fact, like, I think he blocked me on Twitter, as a matter of fact, because I was trolling him so hard. You know what I mean? So now, the second bitch in the equation is Jamal. I wish I could knock out David Benavidez Charlo when you couldn't even knock out Korobov, who was like up there in age and had a week's notice for the fight, and you still couldn't finish him. You couldn't knock out Derevyanchenko, who was coming off with 2 losses. You couldn't knock him out. So shut up. See, this is the thing. This is the thing I dislike, okay? In boxing, I understand that you want to talk. I get that. I get you want to talk. But Your talking has to equate to actions, to concrete actions. This nigga gonna talk about, oh, you know, Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade, he ran from my brother. You know, his promoter priced themselves out. But you're not saying that you turned down the $7 million though, that he offered to unify with you. You didn't mention that, did you? So now he talking about fighting Benavidez. And truthfully speaking, that's a good fight. And I will hope that Benavidez knocks that nigga's block off. That's why I would really be hoping that he just like totally wipes that nigga, man. Because let's face it, Jamal Charlo's best knockout has been Julian J. Rock Williams. That's been his best knockout. Let's just be honest with ourselves. Right? So now, I don't know if that fight's gonna happen or whatever the case may be. But let me get back to the point of talking. Your talking has to equate, as I said, to actions. But usually, if you're a man of actions, you're going to be a man of very few words. Usually, that's usually going to be the case. You're not going to really talk that much. I'll give you a couple of examples. Jaron Ennis. Don't get it twisted. Jaron Ennis, he watches the fights. He's at the fights. He's tapped into these fights. But he's not really a Twitter fingers. Right? He's just working on his craft. But mind you, he's not at super middleweight. He's at the welterweight division. You know what I mean? So that's how that goes with him, right? So then we move to David Morrell. David Morrell Jr., I think this has a lot to do with his upbringing. I think this is the thing too. A person's upbringing really determines like how they move. And also it determines like where a person is, you know, also determines how they move. Because you know, like where especially where my neck of the woods, where I come from, or I guess you can say where I was, you know, immigrated to in America, you couldn't do goofy shit. As a matter of fact, if you did goofy shit, you were gonna get reprimanded, and sometimes that reprimand means you're gonna get DP'd. So the goofy shit couldn't go down. So when I look at Jamal Charlo, when I look at the Billy Joe Saunders of the world, it's just goofy shit. Okay? Boxing, there's very few throwback fighters in this game of boxing that we know right now. Okay? And so we look at the situation and we see how these boxers are moving, and then you wonder why people are watching UFC. You wonder why people are not watching boxing that much anymore, or checking for boxing. You wonder, like, why UFC has the upper hand. You know? So, let's move on to something else. The third bitch that we talk about in this category is Caleb Plant, aka Vanilla Ice 2.0. And the reason why he's a bitch is because he's going to do the same thing as Billy Joe Saunders. He's going to do the same exact thing. Granted, David Benavidez has a fight in March, right? So what he's gonna do, what Caleb Plant is gonna do, is he's gonna hold out until September and probably fight a garbage man between that time, and then he's gonna get the Canelo fight, rather than, you know, many people can say that, you know, David Benavidez is going to be successful against Ronald Ellis, Rashidi Ellis's brother. I mean, the verdict is pretty much out that dude's gonna like annihilate him. And this is no disrespect to Ronald Ellis. He's a very good guy, very chill. You know, we follow one another on social media. You know what I mean? So yeah. So it's safe to say that, you know, it's definitely safe to say that that's going to be the case, you know. So rather than fight David Benavidez, let's just say in the summertime, let's just say in June, what Caleb Plant is going to do is he's going to fight Canelo. He's going to fight a garbage man between that time, and then he's going to hope that Canelo gives him that fight in September. You know why I know this, man? Any division that Canelo goes to, he holds up fights. He holds up potential fights that could be made. You saw that at 160. When Triple G could have unified, or when there could have been other fights to be made, you know, at the time at 160, people were holding their breath for a Canelo fight, man. And when Canelo decides to vacate, now the fights at 160 are very possible to be made now. But that's my prediction. That's what because this is the thing. He's already talking about Caleb Plant is already talking about being ready for Canelo after his fight. You know, he's already talking like that. And the thing is about it, this is the thing for me, and this goes out to some of these would-be people. I don't like fake thug personas, okay? I really don't like that shit. That shit is stupid to me, okay? Like, when you do these fake thug personas, it's like, bruh, who you fooling? Niggas can see through that shit. And so Caleb Plant falls into that category, and Jamal Charlo falls into that category. And Billy Joe Saunders just falls into coke sniffer category. He doesn't fall into fake thug. He just falls into coke sniffer. You know? So, when you act like that, it just really doesn't, like, resonate with me. I can't really take you serious. Because here's the pattern with these fake thugs. They bark up, fake thugs and coke heads synonymous. Here's the common denominator with these guys. They poke their checks out, they have these Twitter fingers and things like that. And then when it's all said and done, they end up fighting some guy who, you know, we already know they're gonna win, and there's nothing really to gain from that fight. That's what happens. So what Caleb Plant is gonna do is he's gonna fight another, like, no-name title defense, and then he's gonna try to get the fight with Canelo instead of fighting David Benavidez. That's what he's gonna do. As far as David Benavidez is concerned, the Canelo fight is not available for him because Canelo already said he don't want to fight no Mexicans. So that fight's not available. unfortunately. That would be an action-packed fight too, because both are come-forward fighters, both have aggressive styles, and it would be very good to see that fight. But Canelo's not going to fight that dude. I mean, David Benavidez has a longer reach and just all types of shit, man, that would give Canelo problems. The reason why Canelo will fight Caleb Plant is because he's going to fight him because of the simple fact that, you know, instead of sweet hands, you might as well call them soft hands. Or sweet and soft hands, if you want to go that way. Because that fool don't got no power. Let's just be honest. He doesn't have no power. And, you know, I would say something about like a boxing rule 101. But I can't really say it because if I say it, it'll be me. It would be me like giving away something that I use. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. But in essence, like Caleb Plant don't got no power. And as a matter of fact, I think what would happen is in that fight against Canelo or Benavidez, what would happen with Caleb Plant is he would be trying to move around so much, and then the ring would be cut off, and then that dude would have stamina issues, and then that's when all hell would break loose, and he would probably get stopped. So, last but not least, I want to talk about something that I think should happen in the super middleweight division, and it would make for a very good fight. You know, we have an interim champion who comes from the Cuban school of boxing. If you've been rocking with me, you know I fucks with the Cuban school of boxing very heavy. You know, I went to Cuba just to experience that, among other things. And yeah, and inshallah, I will return to Cuba this summer to take some more boxing over there, you know. Now, I want to say something about the boxing in Cuba, okay? Boxing is practiced all over Cuba. It's practiced in Camagüey, it's practiced in Trinidad, it's practiced in Havana, it's practiced in Santiago de Cuba. I got a chance to practice it in Santiago de Cuba, which is where it's more, I guess you can say, it's more rhythmic. It's more rhythmic in Santiago de Cuba, you know, and so that's what I like about it. You know what I mean? So, with that being said, you know, with that being said, David Morrell versus Edgar Berlanga would tell us a lot of things about these guys. Number one, it would tell us who's the cream of the crop when it comes to prospects. You know what I mean? Number two, it would tell us if Edgar Berlanga can box and if David Morrell can bang, if needed be, right? So, that fight should happen. They need to make that fight happen. Do it for boxing. Do it for, you know, make that fight happen. And here's the thing about that fight, okay? It's two polar opposites. You have Edgar Berlanga, who is very vocal about his power, very vocal that he's knocking these guys out. But mind you, the level that he's knocking these guys out is not that high. You know, these guys are just in there for a paycheck. Keep it very funky. So, on the opposite side of things, you have David Morrell, who is a silent killer. And that's what I like about him so much. He is a silent killer. Now, granted, he doesn't speak English, but he speaks Spanish. And even when he speaks Spanish, you can tell he's just like a chill, relaxed, cool guy. But when he gets in the ring, it's like he's a man possessed. And I like fighters like that. And Jaron Ennis fits that mold as well. And, you know, I'm sorry to say it, but I'm going to, like, ride for him. But Demetrius Andrade, you know, he's not quiet, but he's a dude who walks with a smile on his face outside of the ring, but in that ring, he's a different animal. You know what I mean? And I you know, to close this out, I don't think he should move up to 168, because who is he going to fight at 168 that's going to be worth the while? You know, I mean, he's going to be handed like leftovers at 168. So again, I said it in a previous video. I said it in the video that I posted before with him concerning him. He should just clean out 160 if needed be. He should just clean that division out. It's there for the taking, man. Just clean out 160. I would love to see him do that. But man, that's all I got, man. Leave your comments. And again, if anything I said offended anybody, man, this is just me expressing myself, okay? And it's just, this is what I see when it comes to these certain fighters, okay? And that's just the bottom line. You know, I'm not going to name drop anybody, but there's a certain goofy ass boxing channel who is a big time hater of Demetrius Andrade and will even use fighters that he dislikes in order to drag Demetrius Andrade's name. And he recently made a video saying that Demetrius Andrade wanted no smoke with David Benavidez, but they haven't even mentioned each other's name to fight. Okay? So, what the hell? Why are you even bringing this up? You're kind of stupid, sir. I'm not gonna talk about him though. I'm not gonna make him famous on my channel and give out his channel name. But you know, you guys have an idea of who I'm talking about. But anyhow, man, leave your thoughts and leave your comments about these situations at this point in time, at this 168 division. But Fuller signing out, man. Leave your thoughts, leave your comments. And shout out.